Hey guys, it's me. I'm back. I know it's been like a little bit, few days since I've uploaded a video or played in the weekly Wednesday, whatever the heck. Been a little bit, but right now I'm a little sick. So if you can hear it in my voice a little bit, got a sore throat, all gummed up, all filled up, feeling a little better. So it's been a day since then. But anyways, today I'm back, and if you read the title, unfortunately I won't be able to go and play at Atlanta. But very unfortunate. I know, tragic. All you are gonna miss me, but it's okay because this is going to be the list that I would have taken if I were to go, more or less, right? With very few things changing, more or less, with very specific few cards. And so, if you can tell what character this is, it's going to be Annie, the female Titan. So just to go over real quick, this is going to be on the Chaos symbol. She's a 7-hander with 22 health. On her normal side, the side you start on, her human side, whatever, you can enhance, commit, make your non-powerful attack a throw. It can't gain powerful. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. And then her other ability, the main thing that I really like about her, is you can just discard a momentum, build the top card of your deck, and then if you or your opponent, either player, is at 9 foundations, you get to transform. And when you do transform into the female Titan, you get to build a backup from your deck or discard pile, deck or discard pile, with difficulty 6 or less. So currently there's only 2 in the game. Hopefully the next Attack on Titan set and the last one after that, but hopefully the up-and-coming one, because that'll be the most recent one, has some better 6 difficulty or less backups, because there's only the 2, and we only play the one that I think is just personally the better of the 2, but that's whatever. We only really play the backup in the first place just because it's a free build with the character, and because it's a good block mod. Anyways, besides that, what she also does, you can lose 1 health, you can try and block your rival's attack with a backup from your stage, so you build in that backup for free, you can lose 1 health and block with it, which is kind of alright, right? It's cool, it's fine, it's cool, whatever. It's always good to keep a spare block in your stage, which I like. And the other ability, the last one on her Titan side, you can commit 1 foundation to give your attack 2 speed and 2 damage. So give it 2/2. I don't really like the Titan side all that much. I think it's really cool and good that we can use something in our stage to block with, really cool. But unfortunately, it's just a one-time use, at least with how the deck is now, because we only run the 1 Titan. So it is what it is. And committing 1 foundation for 2/2, while the stats are good, it's run into what I see as like the Midoriya 6/7, the new Midoriya problem that can transform, is that committing cards for cost, very steep cost. Even if you have a very big stage, if you check bad once or twice and you're committing cards for everything, very, very steep cost. You'll probably only be able to play like 3 attacks, assuming you check bad once or twice, plus that. And then that's not even accounting for anything that your opponent does. Like maybe they have Breaker, maybe they make you have to play something else with like Aries Smiles or Keiko's Aid, make your stuff more difficult to play. Right? There's a myriad of issues that goes with that, and so with her you have to be very careful and know when to actually commit things for cost. And you really just have to play a perfect backswing string deck of just your opponent is totally committed out, totally has nothing in hand, no way to draw cards, and you have to go in, assuming you can. Anyway, so that's the character, and that's kind of just the general thing. So let's get into like the main actual stuff, the attacks, whatever, right? We'll go with quantity for the amounts, right? So 1 Air Cannon Blast. This card is just at the 1 of, easily replaceable. We only play it because it's bottom ability. You can sometimes, if you have more foundations, add a card from your stage to your hand. So since Annie's front side, bottom ability, you just build cards from the top of your deck. Sometimes you'll build an attack, and so with this, it's basically that you say, oh, I built a massive blow, massive swing, whatever, in my stage. I'll pick it up and I'll play it, right? So it's just another copy of certain moves, assuming you build them. Sometimes you don't build anything, and you just have this as just another attack, right? It becomes like a 5 mid for 6, which isn't terrible, but it is what it is. 1 Impact Recoil. I just like this move because the thing with Annie and the playstyle with this deck and character is you want to build up a bunch of momentum to build down and transform, but then once you transform, you have like no use for momentum with your character. And so afterwards, when you do transform, you have, say, all these cards that say add momentum, get momentum for free, or just have some momentum extra, potentially. And so you need cards that actually use that momentum. We have some in our foundation stuff as well. But this is basically a card that uses that momentum pretty well. And as well, if you have to block with it, fairly decent, right? It's got Breaker 1, it's a slam, because we play a little bit of a slam package with some of our moves. It's not required, but it's kind of... I like going for like a mono keyword thing, but you don't need to. And this one basically says 5 mid for 6 damage by discarding the momentum, right? Otherwise, it's a pretty trash... I mean, it's all right poke, right? 5 mid for 2, they'll probably just take the 2. But you really want to use its ability to have extra momentum and make it 5 mid for 6, and then maybe do something with Annie with it. But that's it as well. I like this move a lot. I could easily change this out for one of the other like Blue Flame Surge here or Air Cannon Blast. Speaking of which, Blue Flame Surge. We play a few 3 diffs. We play 3. This one's alright. It has Breaker 1 again. It's a 3 diff that we can just play and hopefully use to maybe kill some if we need to. But we really just play it to sometimes just grab an attack out of our momentum. As you can see down here with like the Dark Tournament Looms, we play that because sometimes, like once I said, you have excess momentum when you transform, and you're like, dang, I could just like discard it for like speed or damage or like powerful or EX or whatever, or assuming they're attacks, you can just add them back to your hand with something like Dark Tournament Looms or Blue Flame Surge. And as well, it has this also other cool thing with this in particular. After you block an attack with a keyword ability, it deals no damage. So in the Chaos Symbol in particular, when you're playing stuff like Struggling with Studies, right, you block with this, pick it up with Struggling with Studies, block with it if you have more. And it's just good in that regard, right? It's kind of a onboard way that we have instead of protecting Yukina or whatever for like throw hate, right? And it's just good in general. At the one of because it's kind of whatever. I also just don't really care for it too much because it's either hit or miss. It's either you do get excess momentum and you're allowed to pick up your other cards, or they block perfectly, you don't get any momentum, and if you do, they play like cards that just discard your momentum. So it's hit or miss. This is very much so changeable and fine. Agile Drop. Like I said, we're playing a bit of a slam package. This card printed basically says 3 high for 5 with its ability. Slam, so we can use it with other stuff we'll get into. But it's bottom ability, discard 2 cards to choose 1 card in your card pool, add a copy of it from discard pile of hand. This basically lets us tutor another attack. So you play something, then you play this, discard 2 random foundations or 2 whatever cards that you don't need, add another copy of that to hand, right? It's just a useful card to grab more stuff that you need, and it's just good in that regard. Or, this is another card I currently have my in-paper build, is Inverted Knife Throw to cover this. In a similar vein, this is just another attack, the Inverted Knife Throw, because you can put it into momentum sometimes, and then you can play it from there. That's good. So we're currently in this one, I have that. The other 3 diff, 2 save a million strike. You just have that as a, I used to have this at a 3, right? Because it's just good. Block with it, put in momentum. You can use your cards that discard, like Maneuver Gear or Annie, right? To discard and build, or what have you. And as well, it's a 3 diff, becomes a 4 diff, quote unquote, with Annie's Titan side to commit, give it 2/2. And you can change the zone, which doesn't really matter, but it's something. We only want to set the, like, we want minimal 3 diffs because we don't want to make them into 4 diffs by committing a card. And also they just need to be very strong. And this one I think is a little better than the Blue Flame Surge, but they're both on like even footing. This is just a neat card, right? And next for our big cojones, big boy ones. Wide Swinging Blow. I had this in the life build. I really like this card. It's very cool, very good. It's kind of like, you know, an Indiscriminate Shock or something else. Or like the Frog Lashing, Meteor, Frotskis, whatever that card is. Blitz, you flip 1 foundation, it gets a damage for each of your ready face downs. So this can easily be your big finisher, or just a really strong early poke, or something you just play right away so they use whatever they want on it. Maybe they use the Throw Hate, or just like the thing that deals no damage no matter how it's blocked. Maybe they just use that Twice card that reduces it to 2. They use whatever on it, right? Because it gets really big really fast. And so it's just a really strong move. We have it the 2 of, it's just goated, and it's just good. And because your Annie, you're building cards down with your momentum face down, plus whatever you flip with your cards and your stage, it just gets super big, right? It's just a good card. And next, these are like, these last 3 cards are our main bread and butter, pretty much. Frog Strike. This card, it's a 3 of, because I don't, it's good, but you only need it sometimes. But you also could maybe sideboard the other one when you need it a lot, because its main ability that we love it for is flip 1 foundation, seal a rival card. So this is really good since we have not much stage board control interaction. This card is very good for dealing with those stages and boards, right? So flip 1 foundation, seal a Keiko Zaid, seal this, seal that thing, seal Twice card, I keep forgetting what it is. That one. Seal that one. So it's just really good in that regard, right? And if you have multiples, which you kind of don't always want, because it just depends on what they have on their stage, you can do it multiple times. It has a good deadlock, already 3 foundations, and our character that commits cards for cost, that's actually really powerful. And then as well, it can get fairly big on its own with its other ability, discard 1 card, it gets 3 damage. And so off of that, basically as well as it's stun, it becomes like a 5 mid for 7, and then whatever you to give it with Annie. It's a really good, strong, powerful card. Next one. Love this card a lot. You guys are back?
Yeah.
Okay. And then next card, as I was saying, Gently Sandwiched. Love this card. Card's so good. Sometimes it's really bad, but most of the time it's really good. It just feels bad sometimes, is what I mean. But it's this is why we play this kind of a slam, loose attack lineup of just slams because of it. Combo ability. It gets X damage equal to the slam before it. So when you play it after Massive Swing, it gets 6, becomes a 10, 2 after 10, which is pretty cool. It has EX2, so it can kind of make up for that 2 high speed. But the main reason we play it, that bottom ability, add 1 card from your hand to momentum. And there's a card, foundation, that you want to pretty much always put in momentum, ideally speaking. But it is good just to say, you have cards in your hand, oh, this card I'm not going to use or play or do whatever with right now. It's kind of useless. Put it in momentum, discard it, build a top card of your deck with Annie. Super good, and because it's not powerful move, you can make it a throw with Annie. So what I do oftentimes, you play Massive Swing, they do whatever to that. You play Gentle Sandwich, you make it a 2 high for 10, and you make it a throw with Annie. Really good for poking. Assuming they don't have like the face shield or something. So that's why that card is just really good, right? And as well, like I said, the EX2 with that excess momentum after you transform to make it actually a decent move. You can make it 4 high for 10, assuming. That's really good after something like an Agile drop. You play it, pick up a Gentle Sandwich, and you keep just going down with that. And then Master Swing, like I just said, this card is the go. This is like pretty much the only, well, besides that, it's like the main 5 if we play. I was gonna say only. It's got powerful, so it has a momentum out. It's got decent stats, 5 mid for 6, and the Blitz to pretty much always get momentum. The regular one only works obviously if you have 0, which is fine because most of the time we're just spending momentum anyways to constantly protect ourselves, be annoying to our opponent, or just to constantly build. And it's good that it has a deadlock ability, which also basically says we always get momentum. And so that's why it's really good. And then, like I said, it's a slam, so it combos really well with Gentle Sandwich and a bunch of other cards. This card just super good, super goated, and there's no 3 block mod moves here. That's interesting. That's it for the attack lineup. And we'll go into the other just random cards that aren't foundations. 2 maneuver gear. This card is obviously really good. It'll probably get errated or banned soon because of Ryukyu. But we play this because we mostly play it for defense. To use the momentum on our opponent's turn to hopefully block their stuff and not die, because so many cards and so many characters can just kill you in like 2 attacks if you're not careful. So that's why that's really good. And then another momentum out on our turn if need be. Like instead of using EX2 with Gentle Sandwich, you can use this for 3 speed instead. It's kind of the same thing. But just the 2 of it because we don't want a whole lot of it. Also good block mod. 1 Dark Torment Looms is just, like I said, a way to get cards out of your momentum if you want them, if you want to have an attack for later. As well as just another way to draw a card with that random bottom sentence, draw 1 card. So it's just good. You can play more of these if you want. I was testing it at 2, but I think 1 is fine because it doesn't come up too often. And this is the 1 Titan that we're going to play, the 1 backup. Just it has a 1 high block, so I think between it and the other one, the block mod is significantly better. And its ability for extra damage and speed potentially is also very good. And we're playing more an aggro stream character, so the damage is something that we want over potentially just like 1 or 2 speed. Okay, and now let's get onto the foundations. The main cards you're going to be seeing, the gray cards. So for the cool one-ofs, whatever, just the 1 Dreaming of the Reward. This is similar to the Apathy of Annie Laneheart, whatever that card is. I like this one a little more because it lets you use cards in your momentum, which people can still get rid of and discard, but I just like it a little more. I think it's a little better. The other card, because this lets you have any block, whereas that other one only lets it use itself, which is a mid block. And so while it's good, you can have that one and your Titan, so you have a mid and high. This one still allows you to use anything else and is in theory usable multiple times because you can commit it this turn, ready up for the next turn, use it for the other turn. So it's just cool. It's a neat little tech piece. 1 Button Collective is just for some draw power. Another way to spend momentum to hopefully seal some stuff if you don't need Frog Strike. That's also why we only play the 3 of it, because we have this. and it's just really good. And as well, you know, they can still somewhat combat it with its ability to, they pop one to cancel the ceiling, but it's still a decent thing and lets you draw cards, which that's like one of the slight problems with the deck is just the fact that there's not a whole lot of draw. The next one, Jam Session. This is mostly just because it has my name in it. It's got Jam, right? So we gotta play it. And then as well, it's actually not that bad of just spend a momentum. So when you're in Titan form and you have excess momentum, spend one, give your next check +1, so it makes your cards easier to play. Super good. And then one Teacher's Guidance. This I basically have as like the one on stage on board version of Carpool Work. Just this card is multiple momentum, and then this one, Teacher's Guidance, just allows you to do the same thing, just snag momentum. Just really good. It allows you when you do have to take some hits, whether it be because you can't block or maybe play a throw or something, allows you to still get some advantage. This card's really good. That would be something I would consider putting up to like a 3 or 4, because if they poke you once and you have like multiples on stage, it says I get a bunch more momentum just instantly. And then 2 success results. This is, I have another way of using momentum, plus it's got a good deadlock, but the main idea with this card is you're in Titan form with excess momentum. You commit success results with Annie to give 2/2, discard momentum with it, discard momentum with itself, and then ready it. So you just commit it with Annie, ready it by discarding momentum, next attack, commit it with Annie, discard momentum, ready it. This is just an easy way to have Annie's ability be quote unquote no cost for free. But I only put the 2 of, and like I said as well, it's got a good little deadlock ability, which sometimes comes up. I play 2 with Creeped Out. This is just some more like speed hate, right? Or just ability to block. I also swapped this out recently with Where's Your Smile Now or whatever, that all for 1 card, because with Risky Encounter here and a bunch of other stuff in discard pile, being able to get rid of those is really good. That's what in the current paper version I have in there instead. But this is also just a valid thing to help stop with breaker stuff. So they block with Chomp or whatever, right? And you have one of these out, then it's just breaker 1. Still sucks, but it's not as bad. Right? 2 Cruel Intent. I think I'm probably gonna switch these out for something else. I'm not quite sure what, because it is cool that we can give some stuff, some attacks, 2 speed, and they deal damage. That's cool, but it doesn't come up all that often. And also, it'd be something if I could pick the one they flip, but you can't, and so that's, to me, overall just kind of bad. And then, like I said earlier, 3 Carpool to Work. This card is what you pretty much always want to put in with a Gentle Sandwich. It's just really good. And then same, if you have some momentum, like with Maneuver Gear, block with it, and you can use it to be able to put itself into momentum, and then use Maneuver Gear again or something else, like Annie. And so this card is just really goated. It's just multiple momentum, right? So these 3 cards are actually 6 momentum, in theory. 3 Nice Try. This card's really good. This card actually you could probably maybe switch out for something like, say, more Teacher's Guidance, because while it is really good, it readies itself for speed, and so it doesn't matter early. Like, this is really good early game when you check bad, commit it, and it readies itself. But then you might as well have like success, Teacher's Guidance instead, because they fill the same kind of slot to use like Maneuver Gear, Annie, anything else, right? It's just really good in that regard for snacking momentum. But this card's also really good because it's just Nice Try, right? It's just free -2 speed, and it doesn't matter if you check bad with it because it readies itself. So it's good. 4 Struggle Studies. This card is very, very powerful. One of the best defensive pieces in the game, because you, after they play 3 attacks, you can start picking up your cards to block with form. So against, for instance, as well on this sideboard we have, where is it? Runaway, right? So Runaway, you could play Runaway on your first move, and then in theory pick it up for another one with the Struggle Studies, so you can use it again. That's really cool in that regard. Runaway is one I do definitely have in paper for my side deck. Very good, powerful card. That's why Struggling is really good, right? As well, you can use it to stop stuff from being flipped if need be. And for the 2 zeros here, we just have Easily Excited, just good speed, right? We give a lot of damage, mostly. We have ways of dealing out damage, so just extra speed is really good. And Master's Pride, this one's really goated because it's basically our 2 foundations, because whenever you add something to momentum, it triggers. So you play Massive Swing, you check a 3, you commit one of these, then you use its Blitz, flips and ready itself. Very good, very strong, very powerful. It's a no-duh, basically. And then it has a Deadlock ability, which we don't really use that often, but it's there, and it is a very powerful, good Deadlock ability. Fast Friendship, this is our main speed hate, like on board, besides like out niche cards, like instead of Maneuver Gear or whatever it may be. So Fast Friendship is just really good for that, right? And because we're building stuff, you pretty much always get -3 speed on it instead of just the -2. So that's really good. And the other one is our main draw card, and this is the last of it. Here's some transformation. So once again, right, you play like Massive Swing, Blitz, Snag Momentum, and you play this, right, flip, just draw one card for free. It's just really good, very goated, powerful, one of the best cards. And so that is the main deck. It is 60 cards currently. I had it at 62 initially before because I've seen a lot of people do that, but I'm a sucker for just 60 card decks, you know. The only thing that's better than consistency is consistent consistency. And so you do that by just running 60 cards. And so, like I said, the main issue with this, I think, mainly wise, is like I've seen you might have seen from like one of my webcam events, the webcam weekly ones. We get stunned out pretty easily, pretty fast, like by the Krista, and that's really annoying. But you can just put in one of the gentle cards that says, you know, they play stun, flip, negate it, and you snag momentum instead. That's really powerful. So she becomes really good, and just stun cards in general become really big, like Paul from the Tekken 8 stuff. You probably put those in the side deck or just in your main deck instead, which is really powerful. And then that's what I'm saying. It's mostly stun out, and then other cards that can just constantly go in. Like Pony's very difficult to deal with if you're not prepared for it. Like if you don't have, you're struggling with studies or your runaways or what have you, then it's really hard to do that. But in terms of other main mid-lane decks, I think she does do very well, very good, very strong. But you do also still need to be very careful with her commit ability, commit cost. That's very just checking bad. Breaker 2s, uppercut, that Mina card, things that just on block just mess you up really hard. Those will mess you up really hard, and so you need to be able to combat that in some way. So that's why you got to really save up and work on your early board game to build out a very strong, powerful board, and just get really powerful cards in hand, right? So that's why we have like the Frog Strikes and all those things to hopefully deal with our onboard stuff. Very powerful, really cool. And as for the side, I have a bunch of cards here, right? Just a bunch of cool whatever stuff, right? Playful as a Cat, this card I really like for dealing with stuff like Amajikis, Colossus, and just a bunch of other cards that randomly come up, because being able to, in theory, you discard 0 momentum, like for free sometimes, right, with stuff like Hardwood Work. And they discard 2, that can just sometimes totally turn off their turn. Time's Pursuit, very good card, but kind of to me. Smashing Stomp, I like this card a lot because it does kind of help us let us string whenever we can, and can potentially draw us a card. And so the just Godzilla stuff in general, pretty strong. I already have that. Gigantic Swing, I probably would play this, but it's expensive, and so we're not going to. Otherwise, we probably would, because once again, it's another momentum out, and it's just another strong, good, powerful card. Right? This card, Strategic Meeting, once again, this card basically just says flip, put a top card in momentum, which is really cool, or sometimes you can flip, add that card to your hand, depending on what you get. So that's really good. Yeah, and it just depends on what else you want to do. Like, the gentle stuff here, like both of these cards, are actually kind of good because you can play the more dedicated slam stuff. And I do like, with this one in particular, it being a throw. I like having throws in my decks because they're good. Same with like Rescue Counterattack. Once again, you can block with this, add to hand. And if it works, if you have Maneuver Gear to make something a low, with block with this, then add to hand. So it's a little to no risk. And other stuff like Meteor Frotsky's, this is fine, but it doesn't flip. And so also it's a 2-check, so to me it just wasn't worth it as well. Runaway, Goated, like we said. GMA Takedown, Gunhead Martial Arts Takedown, I guess, rather, is really good, especially against like Toga stuff. That might be like the optimal thing to bring in. Behind the Current, I might put this in out of one of, because it basically just says with its response, whenever you discard momentum, extra damage, and so in that regard, it's very cool. Decent block mount as well. Chivalrous, this is very good. Probably needs to be in the side or somewhere in the deck. For other cards, right, with the what's that 8th diff move that just destroys foundations and stuff? Basically, it's good for getting your stuff not destroyed. That's pretty much it. Scissor Kick, cool. Frog Hop, this is neat. You can add multiples of it, but I don't like it because it's a 5 diff. So it becomes a 6 diff with Hanny, and so it's just not very good. Multiple Yukina for this, all that. And so this is all just the sideboard ideas. Like I said, it's very whatever. Just depends on what you want to do. Battle Arena works in us because we want momentum, and we can stop Smiling's Battle Arenas from being up. Very powerful, very good. Worked Up is cool because you can play well committed, destroy it next check. Super good, but then you don't use the discard, but it's whatever. This would probably be a good alternative to say something like, where is it? Successful Results. Right, it filled a similar role. But anyways, so that's basically that. That's the Annie deck. It's going to be goated. It's going to be cool, sick. Like I said, I won't be able to go to Atlanta, unfortunately, but hopefully someone else can take this deck, use it, and win for me. And so that's it. And hopefully I'll be feeling better. I'll upload more of my matches. Probably playing Annie, because duh, but also just playing some other stuff I like. Hopefully some retro stuff, because I want to get into that. Anyways, bye.